What's going on, YouTube? It's your guy Darkfabled here. Long time no see. How y'all been? But today I am bringing you something completely different, and I am very, very excited to show you guys. It is going to be my own buddy fight deck, my Cursed Dragons, and I've been meaning to want to show you guys this for a very, very long time. Like, even back last year, I went to regionals in Richmond, and I played in the Buddy Fight tournament long before we known Buddy Fight was going to get canceled, which is unfortunate, but I played with this deck, and I just had a crazy amount of fun in that whole tournament, and I was so happy to have been a part of that. But anyway, I want to get started on the video. So, of course, we use the Darkness Dragon flag, and our buddy is going to be Black Dragon Knight Gale. What he does is, you have to pay a gauge in order to call him, but then when you do, as long as there's a card underneath the opponent's flag, which is going to be the win mechanic for this deck, and I'll get more into that later, you get to pop one of the cards, but unfortunately that effect is not as useful as it once was, because, destruction knolls are a thing. But his best ability, when he's destroyed by an effect, you get to pay a life, and then add him back from the drop zone back to your hand, and then your opponent has to put the top card of their deck underneath their flag. But anyway, yeah. So basically, yeah, I play for the Buddy Monster, as I've explained earlier already. I know it's not the best way, but like I said, I'm just trying to get used to this game. So, but yeah, I play for Gale because, he is the Buddy Monster, and, he helps us get our win condition off. So, and then his new version is just one of the best things that's ever happened to this deck. His name is, let's see here, March of Silver Moon, Gale Luna. His new abilities is what makes them so fantastic. When he's called, you get to add any Cursed Dragon set card you want, set spell, or you're going to find out soon enough, the impact. That's his on-call effect, but at the start of your opponent's turn, if they have a card under their flag, you gain 3 life. And then, if they have 8 or more cards under their flag, you get to draw a card. So basically, if you get like a whole field full of these guys, you literally just get back like, so basically, if you have like a whole field full of these guys, you get 9 life and then 3 draws. And you fulfill all conditions. But that's what's honestly just kind of really cool about him. He just stacks like that, and I love it. Okay, now on to our next best grade one, Black Dragon Arbol. And he's our resource kind of, guy. When called, you get to gauge 1 and gain a life, even, just on call like that. However, whenever you call this card, if your opponent has a card under the flag at the timing of the call, you get to draw 1 extra card. So you just get a whole bunch of stuff off of 1 card, and there's a set spell that comes with them that a lot of people like to go to, especially me, just because of player preference. And for the size 2, and the last Cursed Dragon member of the deck, Black Dragon Knight Lazam. When he's called, you can only call him once per turn, so it's a hard once per turn, hard call. But basically, when he's called, you get to drop you have to drop a card, and then you get to go through your deck and search out any Cursed Dragon set spell, which basically, searches out the win condition if you don't have it in hand, or your other backup set spell, which is, again, I'll be going to later, which is called Cursed Field. And that's the combo card that goes into Black Dragon Knight Arbo. So, a little combo that I like to see is basically go into Lazam and then use its effect. And if I have, like, an Arbo in hand, drop that, and then get the set spell, Cursed Field. Start the battle phase, call it out, and then just get them bonuses. And now we do run like 3 size 3 of the decks, but they aren't the Cursed Dragon size 3s. The ones I do run are 2 copies of Chaos Darrowburg. When it's a hard once per turn call, just like Lazam, but with him, you get to look at any few cards at the top of the deck and add any card among them to the hand, which I kind of like. I mean, granted, it's a chance regardless, but still, that's a free card. Like, just any card off the top 3 cards, but the rest go to drop zone. And if I open with him, I mean, granted, he's just gonna be my little swing, but because you usually don't with this deck, you don't attack really. But with him, I'll just kind of like chip him a little bit, but that's about it. And for the last card, 4th Omnifire or Burn Nova Revival Buddy. Now, this guy, on yours you can only include 1 of in a deck if it's not from their original world. But this guy, he helping you buy an extra turn in case you can't get your kills off for whatever reason. But yeah, he cannot leave the field, and you cannot lose the fight as long as he's basically here. So yeah, I just took one, and he seemed like a really good choice just to, stall out in case, it comes down to it. And for the items, pretty straightforward because I only run the one item. So I run 4 of Gale Blade. What this thing does, as long as it's equipped, Cursed Dragon monsters on the field cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects or returned to the hand by their effects either, and their abilities cannot be nullified. And then, by paying 1 gauge, you get to put this thing in the rest state, and then they have to put the top card of their deck under their flag. And once they do, if they have 2 or more upon the activation of this card, you get to just draw a card like that. So basically, another good combo, literally just use the effect, rest it, and then put a card, equip a new one. Same thing, rest it, put another card, and then you just draw an extra card after that. And, nice little filtering. And but you really don't need to do that as badly anymore with the new impact because of the way it stacks and all that. But it's just something, sometimes people just want to OTK like that, and I see why. I love it. And now on to the big ones, the spells. So for this one, like I said, the win condition of the deck, Sentence of Curse. You see, you got your boy Light and his boy Gale right here. So basically, yeah, it's a set spell, but with this thing, at the start of each of your opponent's turns, they have to put the top card of their deck under their flag, and once they hit 15, you automatically win the fight. And this card cannot be destroyed or returned to hand. Basically, yeah, so make sure but it can be nullified, so make sure you equip the blade before you play this, otherwise if you don't open up with Gale Luna, it's going to be a bit of an uphill battle right then and there. But then, here we go. Curse Field, the set spell I was telling you about earlier. When a card goes under the opponent's flag, you get to gauge one and then draw one. Oop, sorry. And then, at the start of each player's battle phase, you get to call a size 1 Curse Dragon from your drop zone back to the field by paying its call cost. So again, just call Arbo, and then it's a free cost, and then you just get resources off of that one little call from the drop zone. And for destruction effects, I do like also 3 copies of Curse Ritual. I know that's probably not the most ideal kind of thing, but personally speaking, I just really like the card. You blow up one of your Cursed Dragons, and then you gain 2 life and draw 2 cards off of that 1 destruction. And then if you have 2 more cards under your opponent's flag at the time of the activation, you get to draw a 3rd card, which is something I really like to do. Just the problem with the thing with Cursed Dragons, you draw a lot, and you just draw and engage a lot. You get a lot of resources out of this deck. That's so you deck out really quick. So you want to go over 50 from what I've noticed. And I also run 2 copies of Light of Destiny. Basically, you gauge one, and then you get to add 1 monster with Abigail or Gale in the name, as long as it has a critical base of 2 or less. This thing you get out with you always want to switch out your Gale or Gale Luna, more the latter, but yeah, like I said, because Gale Luna is going to get your, your win condition, even if, it gets sent to the drop zone or something by some means. And for the defensive spells, I play 3 copies of Black White Armor. It's a promo from the year before last regional qualifier, I believe. Basically, what this does, when you're getting attacked, it nullifies it. But if their opponent has a card under the flag at the time of the activation, you get to add any Cursed Dragon from your draw zone back to your hand. So, Lazam or anybody else that's in the drop zone, you can just search those suckers right out. It's another reason why I don't play Underration, because like I said, you run resources really quick, and this guy, it just seemed like more my kind of play style, because this way, and it's, not a once return either. So then I also play 3 copies of Curse Light. Again, blow up a Cursed Dragon activate the effect, but this little guy's a lot more handy. You can either gauge 3 or gain 4 life. In a tight situation, I usually gain the 4 life if I really, really need it. But, if it comes down to it, usually you just have to gauge more than, gain the life, because that's usually a last-ditch effort. And for the last 2 spells that are Cursed Dragon, I play 2 copies of Cursed Grip. Now, when this thing, I wait till they get at least 6 cards underneath their flag. But yeah, you blow up a Cursed Dragon and destroy a card on the field, but I only use it for that effect. I wait till Once there's 6 cards on the field, you take any card on the opponent's field and place it under their flag, which gets around the whole destruction, since it's a drop zone type thing. As long as they don't have, cannot be, removed from field, then it's all good. Get rid of them. And now for the last few spells that are Darkness Dragon World are 3 copies of Chronos Reverse, basically your spell null, pay 2 gauge, nullify any spell, and that's literally kind of needed in this deck. And I also play 2 copies of Devil Sigma, the classic. Sorry, Ice Machine. Basically, you cast it, and then just blow up one of your monsters, and then you gain a life and 2 gauge. A good combo is usually when you use it on Gale, you don't gain the life because you're going to use Gale's effect to pay the life to add it back, so you'll just get the gauge back. Good in tandem. And finally, the last of the Darkness Dragon World spells would be 2 copies of 100 Demon Sorcery, Death Sacrifice. So, a lot of, it's better more for, like, Bloody Eyes matchups, or, if you just have, like, a whole field of, like, the original Gale. You destroy X amount of monsters on your field, and then you draw an equivalent amount. So, and yeah, Gale's effect will kick off, and then you would just pay your life, like, 3 times if you had a full field of him, and then 3 cards go straight under the flag. But like I said, thanks to the new impacts, that's not really much of a problem anymore. And finally, for generics, I play 3 copies of Grace of the Sun Deity because it's Grace of the Sun Deity and it's just freaking amazing. Cards cannot leave the field nor soul, and you cannot take effect damage, and it's not once per turn, which is just absolutely beautiful. Which is an absolute staple to have too. And finally, I play 2 copies of Buddy Block, the ultimate defense spell right here. And again, it's Buddy Block. It's absolutely necessary because Gale is a defense-based style deck, so you're going to need, more defensive style stuff. And finally, the ace of the deck, Curse Count. I play 4 of them. It is the impact for Cursed Dragons. And it is just absolutely a beast. I feel like it's an homage to Death Count Requiem, the way it's like kind of set up like that, because the way Light's got the whole wings and everything. But basically what this card does is, during your final phase, you pay 2 gauge, and then you set it. At the end of each one of your turns, your opponent sends the top 2 cards of their deck under their flag. And as long as there's a Cursed Dragon monster on your field, damage is reduced by 1, which also helps you in the long haul. But basically, yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed this deck profile of mine. And, shout outs to Buddy Fight. I wish we could have stuck around longer, but I guess all good things have to come to an end, unfortunately. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope you have a good evening. See you later.